Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Karen Freitas from the island of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's to the south of the Caribbean. Most people don't know where it is. I am a fashion designer, and I'm also an entrepreneur because I run my own business. I should say I run multiple businesses because I'm what's known as a serial entrepreneur. My business is also a social business because part of my business goes towards the development of my community in here in St. Vincent and the rest of the Caribbean. Um, so I'm here to speak about why should entrepreneurship be taught in schools and universities. I'm speaking from a personal experience, having gone through the school system and having my bachelor's in fine arts. Um, and throughout my experience, never had an experience where I learned any skill or anything technical when it comes to entrepreneurship. It was the only reason, okay. So the only reason I think I fell into entrepreneurship, I would say I fell into entrepreneurship because leaving school and trying to apply for jobs, I couldn't find one within the fashion industry. So I had to stay into what I love doing. I had to create my own business and create opportunities for myself within the fashion industry. So I've been operating since 2015 officially here in St. Vincent, and my market stretches to the UK and United States. Um, Through that, I would say I fell into entrepreneurship, and then I had to fail and succeed and fail again to understand skills of how to be to be an entrepreneur, because it wasn't taught to me in any school at any school level. Um, and so I have developed programs here on my island to help younger people or young women around me to learn skills of entrepreneurship that I wasn't taught necessary in school. And I also had the opportunity to be in the YLI program, where again they push a lot of entrepreneurship skills. And the network I formed there, I was able to feed off of other people around me to learn more skills. Um, so stats, since COVID, since 2020, the International Labor Organization has estimated that up to 30 million persons within the Latin America and Caribbean persons have lost their jobs. This has risen from 5.4 million people with the previous year who lost their jobs. So we can see exponentially how many jobs were lost due to COVID. And then these people, and then an additional 23 million people left their jobs due to the lack of opportunities. I could say from personal experience, a lot of people around me are leaving their jobs and they're moving more into careers that are fulfilling and more challenging for them, and to create more money for themselves. Because at the moment, the economy in St. Vincent is stagnant due to COVID. Also, we just had a volcano eruption. So a lot of opportunities have been lost in traditional job forces. So I think people are now leaning more onto becoming their own bosses and creating opportunities for themselves. And again, it's not a skill that is taught in traditional school. I think schools right now are very linear, and the school curriculum was developed from the Industrial Revolution, which was maybe in the 1800s. So I think there needs to be a change in the curriculum itself, because the Industrial Revolution and the school curriculum, people were taught just to become an employee for a factory or to be employed. And I will say the same thing for myself. When I studied fashion in New York, I was just taught to be a designer, designer specifically within the factory system. and the skills that I was taught and I learned there was just to be that type of designer. And those skills were not applicable to me returning home and having to create my own business, because I had to learn every facet of the from becoming my own accountant, creating my own business plan, budgeting, even language, how to develop, how to speak to a vendor, how to speak to a customer. These are things that I think should be taught in school rather than trigonometry, because I was really good in maths and science, but does not apply to my life right now. And also, I'm also a teacher, and I can see what I'm teaching to my students right now, they will not need when they're applying for jobs or creating their own business. And I think that's such a shame. And I wish the curriculum will change, because sometimes I try to push them, because I teach people how to sew. So sometimes I always stress, like, you might not think this isn't important, but you might not find a job when you leave school. So you might end up having to work for yourself. So please pay attention to things I'm teaching you, because I try to teach them little things like, if you do this and you're working with a client, you could charge more money, or things like that. I try to tell them that, or the importance of customer relationship and retention of customers is more important. So through just casual conversations with my students, I try to remind them of the importance of, I won't say remind them, but I try to drill in them that when they leave, they might need this skill, because at the moment, more jobs are we are entering more into a gig economy or a freelance economy. To me, I don't have all the stats, but I think people are moving into more side hustles, because there is inflation, and our jobs aren't paying enough, so we always have to supplement our economy. So people are becoming entrepreneurs without even the very intention of becoming entrepreneurs. And I think most jobs at the moment, since COVID, people are realizing the importance of being happy with their jobs. And some people are no longer satisfied working a 9-to-5. And also because most jobs are moving into working from home and being on the internet, some people have free time now, and they're trying to develop skills that they love and becoming entrepreneurs on the side. And there are some skills that I think should be learned. Well, it shouldn't. It's imperative that these people know these things to become entrepreneurs, such as creative thinking. I think as an entrepreneur, we are always problem solving, especially since COVID. We all, the importance of how to pivot is very important for everyone, whether it be an entrepreneur or just a regular worker. We have all had to pivot to figure out how to make ends meet. And that's a skill I think as an entrepreneur I had to learn the hard way. As I said, I had to fail a lot to succeed, and then to fail again. And it's like a cycle. And I think if you're not within this pace of life, when COVID hit and most people, I won't say most people, a lot of people lost their jobs, figuring out the next step was very hard, because a lot of people were staying in that moment. And I think through entrepreneurship, I already had the skill of, what is the next step? How do I flip this? What do people need? That's another skill we learned from entrepreneurship, to figure out what the market needs at the moment and how to meet this demand. I also think through entrepreneurship, people learn how to be networkers and the importance of your network. It affects your net worth. And I think if you work a 9-to-5, that's, you learn just to be, you listen to what someone tells you to do and fulfilling that task. Whereas an entrepreneur, we always rely on everyone around us. And I'm trying to find that point, but picking up on working with everyone around you and creating this network, it was very helpful through COVID. And I think that's something that's not taught in school, about how to collaborate and share information or share your resources. Maybe we did 1 or 2 group projects in school, but I think with entrepreneurship and being an entrepreneur, you realize you have to rely on your community around you and building your community around you. Like, your wealth depends on everyone else's wealth. So if everyone around you is succeeding, you naturally will succeed, and vice versa. So I think that's a skill that should be taught in school, or maybe not taught necessarily, but should be developed more or pushed more in schools. Also, simple things like financial planning, how to pitch, how to budget, instead of finding out the surface area of a triangle. Maybe we should like implement these things, where our curriculum isn't so much what's that word, result based, but rather people learn that the process of doing things is as important as the results, if that makes sense. Because I think in schools they push more that if you do an exam and then you pass. But I think within entrepreneurship, and if these programs are developed, students will learn the process is as important as the results. And maybe we should move more away from pass or fail systems, and figure out how to teach students like more life skills. Even writing, coming out of school, I didn't even know the basis of writing a business plan. Yes, it is. It's available on the internet and it's available on YouTube, but I think sometimes someone had to like sit down and explain to me that this is what I need, because my business is so specific. I won't say specific. My business is specialized. So things on the internet was very generalized. So me teaching myself how to write a business plan, I still needed someone to come and help me write it. And I think even within schools that's something that could be developed, because I would say in social media, people themselves are becoming brands. So like if we teach students like the importance of branding and how to write business plans, that's another thing. I think that's the importance of schools, because within innovation and technological changes, jobs are no longer traditional. So why is the curriculum very structured and linear and traditional? And I think I touched on all my points. Hi.